Welcome back, guys, to Cody's Movie Cave. So, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite trilogies. The man, the myth, the legend, John Wick. That's right, Baba Yaga himself. Somebody get this man a gun. Yeah. Even got little John with me today. Little John, hello. Anyway, so yeah, 3 movies in, John Wick trilogy. Good stuff. If you're an action fan, you've seen John Wick, you know what I'm talking about. This review is redundant for you. If you haven't, stay tuned and we'll be telling you why you should check it out. Anyway, John Wick trilogy begins with John Wick, just plain titled John Wick. It's got the amazing Keanu Reeves, who was pretty much making a comeback with this movie. And so he's, come out in 2014 is when it was released. I remember, seeing the trailer and thinking, oh, another assassin movie. It's just going to be, another dime a dozen. Nothing new here, but I'll check it out anyway. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people had that same attitude. We had been assassin movied to death, action movied, genre had sort of been running on empty until this movie came out. John Wick was released and everything else spun on its head. The movie came out. First of all, the story is John Wick is this unassuming guy who's just lost his wife. He's grieving. He's in a low spot. Her last sort of act while she was alive was to arrange for John to receive this puppy, sort of so he's able to grieve unalone. He'll have a companionship there with little pup, and so yeah, he goes about his day-to-day activities, with the dog, and he's got this really sweet Mustang car that he's kind of attached to as well. He runs upon these, just a freak, run-of-the-mill type happenstance, really. He runs across these young Russian punks who has mob ties, and he sort of manages to piss them off because the main ringleader, the arrogant little dirtbag, asks, is the car for sale? John replies calmly and nicely, no, it's not. The Russian dude says something in Russian, it's kind of a slur, and John, he knows Russian, so he answered back with another slur, so he ticked him off. Anyway, so they come to his house at night to steal his car, they kill his dog, beat him to a senseless bloody pulp, and leave him there, carless, dead dog, all the works. Well, something sort of reawakens in John that the audience didn't know existed until yet. He has a backstory. He's got a history, if you will. He is a man of sheer focus and will. He's got skill set that would put any skilled assassin or killer to shame. He's got a reputation that when these mob bosses drop his name, it sends fear and a cold shiver running down their spine. Anyway, so he sort of reawakens and the beast is unleashed, as they say. Breaks out his suit, dressed to the nine, got his gun, his gat, he's ready. So all kinds of trouble ensues. He's trying to get revenge, but more or less he's trying to let loose. He's trying to release. And so he wreaks havoc. Anyway, this movie is a simple story that's been done several times, but here's what sets it apart. And that is, one, Keanu Reeves' performance, because the man knows his way around a gun in real life. Go check it out on YouTube. Keanu Reeves at the gun range. You won't be disappointed because he's believable in these situations because he's trained. He has learned how to handle his weapons. Anyway, I digress. Keanu Reeves is one reason it's good, and the second reason is this action, the action scenes, the shootouts, the kung fu and the gun training and all that is something different. It's something we hadn't seen before, and it's been the term has been coined gun fu. And when you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about, because Keanu Reeves, he does these things with these guns that we hadn't seen in action film up until this point. And what I'm saying is when the action, it seems to me, when the action genre is sort of tapped and running on its last leg, right? With each generation it happens. They have to bring in Keanu Reeves to remedy that, right? Early 90s, we had, all these movies, this and that, leading up, and then Speed happens. Great action movie. Keanu Reeves, one of his breakout roles, breathes life back into the genre. We fast forward several years later, I think it's 1999 or either 2000. I think it was 2000 when it came out. We hadn't seen anything fresh, anything new. The Matrix comes out. Keanu Reeves, right? We're seeing a pattern here. The term bullet time is introduced. It's slow-mo action. It's wire work, and it's new, and it works. All right. A few years later, about 14 years later, we fast forward to John Wick, and we're reintroduced to a whole new action hero and a new style of movie that breathes life back into that genre. So that's what John Wick does, is that sets it apart, is its style is totally different up until that point. And I think the reason that is one, Keanu Reeves is awesome with a piece, and then two, these directors, I forget their name. One's Chad something S, it's spelt weird, and then the other is David Litch or something like that. Anyway, but what I'm saying is these two guys are former stuntmen, right? They're not directors. Their contribution up until this point, up until John Wick, had been to do stunt work. And so they come in to direct this movie and make it, but they have the insight of these action scenes and choreography, and it works. They know what they're doing when they make an action movie. And so that's why everything that's come out since then is always compared. Oh, it's from the guys that made John Wick, or it's from the producer of John Wick, or this, that, and other. It's always compared. So John Wick sort of breathed life back into the action genre. It was a success, a smash hit when it came out. Big at the box office, the critics loved it, audiences connected with it, and Keanu Reeves made the comeback of the century. And so then, a couple years later, not all that time had passed, we get John Wick Chapter 2. Parabellum, I think it is, and I'll get to that, why it's called that, in a little bit. So John Wick is sort of back on the scene reluctantly. He handled what he had to handle, got his car back, got his revenge for his puppy, and so, but now he's ready to slide back into his old, his docile, dormant self. But little does he know, he stepped foot back into that pond. He's about to be drugged back in by a former cohort that he owes a great deal of, to why he has this new life, and he was able to leave and get out of the assassin lifestyle, is owed to this Italian mobster named Santino D'Antorio. And he's a member. Another little chasing the rabbit here. Another thing that John Wick sets up with the first movie, slightly, is this whole world, this whole sort of underground high table is what it's called, world, where this criminal organization is run, and these killers are sort of they all live by code. You know, there's hotels called the Continental where you can't conduct business, but you can, you know, sort of mingle and such. And so it's just a fascinating world that the writers built John Wick within. And anyway, we get to further explore that with Chapter 2, which is what was called a blood marker, or a blood debt that John Wick sort of owes to this guy. And so he has to reluctantly go back to the fold and pull off this job for him. Great action in this chapter. We get to do a little bit of globe trotting, right? We get to sort of move past just New York. We go to Rome and sort of get our action on in Rome. And great action scenes again. You know, just it's stylized. It's great. Keanu Reeves is on point. And so yeah, Chapter 2, Parabellum. And the reason it's called Parabellum is the Latin term Sivi Pacem Parabellum, which translates to, if you want peace, prepare for war. And so that's kind of where the name comes from. And so yeah, Chapter 2, another smash hit, big at the box office, critics, audiences, both loved it. Successful sequel. Chapter 3 ups the ante, ups the action. Don't know how, but they managed to up it. I mean, you got John Wick on a horse this time in the opening act. You got him on a motorcycle. You got him in Morocco. You got him, you know, doing the globetrotting thing again, and you know, great action, great story. You know, the great thing about these three movies is they're you know, within the movie they're not spread out a lot of time-wise. Chronologically, these movies are supposedly taking place within days of each other. So I mean, sequel right behind the sequel, you know, chronologically flows within a matter of days, maybe a week within these movies have passed, and so that's very interesting. And but yeah, it just works. You know, John Wick revitalized action as we know it. Like I said, you know, everybody wants to get in on it. Everybody wants to tie their action movie nowadays back to John Wick somehow. And that should be statement enough right there that these movies are good and they're successful. And if they weren't good, we wouldn't be about to get the fourth one that comes out next year, John Wick Chapter 4. I posted a trailer on my channel, so check that out too. So yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of action, like I said, you've probably seen them. Everybody has at this point. If you haven't, and you're one of the just select few that hadn't, do yourself a favor and check them out. I mean, there's 3 movies to watch. Sit down one day and just have you a binge marathon special, a Keanu marathon, if you will. Me and Little John give it our seal of approval, right, Little John? He does. So yeah, I mean, great action movie, great story. It's a classic in my book now. So yeah, John Wick Chapter 2, Parabellum, and then John Wick 3. Forget what I don't think it had a fancy little subtitle. I think it was just Chapter 3. Anyway, if you're a Keanu fan, you'll dig them. They're good. Like I said, it's worth it just to see the action and the gunshots alone. You know, the shoot 'em ups, if you will. I don't even think people use that word anymore. Shoot 'em ups, shootouts. I don't know. Gun fu. That's what they're using. Check out the gun fu. It's good. Check out, you know, the YouTube videos of Keanu sort of doing his training. I mean, the man is a gunslinger in real life. I mean, I would not want to piss Keanu Reeves off by no means. The man, he's fast. He's fast on the draw. He's accurate, and makes for one heck of a believable movie. You know, because it's always good when the actors want to do their own stunts or they want to train to be able to be believable. And Keanu does that. I mean, he's great. He can he rides motorcycles, so he does a lot of his motorcycle action. So yeah, John Wick. Yeah. Need some guns. Anyway, good stuff. Check them out. There, you can buy them or rent them on Amazon, Apple, Vudu, the big three there, you know. They're on hard copy Blu-rays. I'm trying to think if it's streamed. I don't think they're streaming free on any of the streaming subscriptions. With that being said, I may be wrong. Either way, they're worth the buy. You know, they're worth the buy in my book. Just go out and rent it or buy it. You know, it's great. You want to catch up because, I mean, chapter 4, it's sneaking up behind us. It's right around the corner. March of next year, 2023, we get back in the John Wick zone. So, yeah, check them out before then. And I'm excited. I'm anticipating John Wick 4. So, yeah. As always, this is my opinion. And you know what I say about opinions? They're like buttholes. Everybody's got one. Some of them stink. Yeah.